Hi paranormal peeps, welcome to the first Surrey Supernatural podcast. I'm Graham and I run the Surrey Supernatural Investigations Facebook group, and here are a few short ghost stories from Surrey, England. The Ghost of St Paul's Church. Back in October 1953, Police Constable Battens was working a night duty and was walking along Church Road in Elstone, England. It was around 2 o'clock in the morning and the roads were quiet. Constable Battens was the only person around. All of a sudden he became aware of a rustling from a bush in the churchyard opposite, and at this point he heard a noise of footsteps walking towards him. Constable Battens shone his torch towards where the noise was coming from, but there was no one around. He moved out into School Lane again to see if he could see the owner of his footsteps, but there was no one there. Weeks later, while chatting with the local vicar about the incident, the vicar told Constable Battens there was supposed to be a grey lady that haunted a nearby area called Sayes Court, the Elstone Crossroads and a Crouch Oak tree. The Crouch Oak tree is an old tree that is claimed to be as old as the 15th century. This grey lady was supposed to walk around the area aimlessly after losing her mind after a broken romance. Around 20 years later, an office worker walking home at about the same time in the area heard the same footsteps. In December 2003, the church caught on fire, causing a lot of damage, and then a few years later the Crouch Oak tree was the victim of an arson attack, and since then there has been no sightings of the grey lady. The A3 crash. On December the 11th, 2002, at around 7:20 p.m, police started getting calls from drivers on the A3 near Guildford in England. Reports were coming in that a car had swerved across the road and down the bank into the bushes. Police arrived on the scene and searched for the crashed car, but no car was found, and it looked by the bushes and undergrowth that no car had recently crashed there. All of a sudden, the police investigating the crash found a maroon car in the bushes, with its windscreen smashed and the driver's door dented. Sitting at the wheel was the skeleton of the driver. The car had not crashed that night, but after further investigation, police found out that it had crashed about 5 months earlier, and the driver was a 21-year-old male. Thorpe Park Ghost. Thorpe Park is a theme park based in Chertsey, Surrey, in England. Back in 2002, work was being carried out to build a new ride for the park, but spirits were to have other ideas. Workers building the ride reported strange goings on, and that some even saw an apparition of a headless monk. Bosses of the park decided to have the site investigated. Reports came back that in fact it was highly possible that the ride was being built on an ancient burial ground that belonged to the nearby Chertsey Abbey that used to stand in the centre of Chertsey. After these findings, bosses decided to move the ride, and as far as I'm aware there has been no more ghostly reports since in that area. Brooklands Racetrack. Situated in Weybridge, Brooklands Racetrack is reported to be haunted by the ghost of a driver who crashed off the banking. Percy Lambert was a successful racing driver, and back in 1913 he became famous for being the first person to drive over 100 miles per hour. Several people had tried this before and failed. Percy was due to get married later in that year and had promised his wife-to-be that once married he would retire from racing. Unfortunately, before his marriage his record was broken, and Percy decided that he would once again go for the record. Percy went for the record, picking up speed when things went wrong. A tyre burst on his car, causing him to spin out of control, spinning through the air and landing on the other side of the banking. The car Percy was driving was nothing like the race cars of the day and had hardly any protection. Percy was to pass away on his way to hospital. He is now buried in Brompton Cemetery in London. The ironic thing is, when Percy was 20 laps into his attempt before the tyre blew, he had in fact broken the record with a speed of 110 miles per hour. Reports from people have said they have seen the ghost of Percy in his racing kit on the track, and there's even been reports of a ghostly car with Percy at the wheel racing around the now disused track. Thank you for listening, and if you're listening via YouTube, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Bye peeps!